Hey everyone, it is 3 o'clock p.m. exactly on this Thursday, January 26, 2017, and welcome to the 41st episode of the Animated Girls Profile Confidential. And as you can see by the title on the screen and in the description box, or below I should say, we are talking about Mary Jane Watson from Spider-Man. And to say Mary Jane Watson has gone on to be one of the more iconic, if not one of the more famous female Marvel characters out there, I don't know what else you could say. And because it seems that in every continuity that Spider-Man is a part of, she's been a part of as well. Either she's been a minor role, a small role, or even a major role. She has been part of Spider-Man in some shape, form, or fashion. Now, for some of you that don't know, Mary Jane made her debut at the end of the 25th anniversary issue of The Amazing Spider-Man in June of 1965, where she said her iconic line, "Face it, Tiger, you've hit the jackpot." Now, she wouldn't make a full-fledged active debut or return until November of 1966 in the 42nd issue of The Amazing Spider-Man. Not to say she didn't make some sporadic cameo or minor appearances here and there, but according to Google, Wikipedia, and several other sites, Mary Jane wouldn't come full circle, if you will, or full-fledged until November of 1966. Now, Mary Jane, of course, has made appearances outside being in the comic books. In 1967, she appeared in the big brainwasher for the 1960s Spider-Man series. But what was unique about this take on Mary Jane is she was actually introduced as the niece of Ned Stacy, thus making her the cousin of Gwen Stacy. Kind of a unique karma there, right? Well, Mary Jane wouldn't make another appearance until about another animated appearance, I should say, until about 1994, when she made her appearance several episodes later in Spider-Man the Animated Series with a recreation of the iconic panel page from the 25th anniversary issue of 1965. Now, the version of Mary Jane in the 1990s Spider-Man series, which ran from 94 to 98, was basically, as many have described, and as I've done some research on, as many others have done research on, the animated series version of Mary Jane, or this animated series version of Mary Jane, was actually a hybrid of both herself and Gwen Stacy. Let me explain. You see, there were several scenarios, moments, storylines that a lot of longtime fans might recognize as being focused mostly with Mary. What I'm saying is that many fans, longtime fans, would recognize as being the kind of moments that Gwen Stacy would be a focal point in. But instead, in the animated series, that, like I say, that ran from 94 to 98 on Fox Kids, instead of Gwen Stacy, you had Mary Jane. Mary Jane became the integral part and focal point of those loosely adapted moments and story arcs. I'll give you an example. We all know about how Gwen Stacy died. She falls off the George Washington Bridge, and as Spider-Man is trying to save her, he ends up accidentally causing her neck to snap back, thus killing her. But again, the question mark is always up in the air. Did he really kill her, or was she already dead? We don't know. Now, that moment was recreated in sort of a more tamer way. Dramatic, yes, but more tamer way, if you will, in the 1990s Spider-Man series in the season 3 finale. And what I mean by more tame away is that instead of Mary Jane falling off the George Washington Bridge and dying, instead she falls through a dimensional portal created by a time dilation accelerator that causes her to float adrift in a dimensional rift. Now, like I said, this was a more tamer adaptation of the Gwen Stacy situation, but instead of Gwen Stacy, it was Mary Jane. Another example of this being a hybrid of both characters into one is you had Mary Jane be a major part of the clone saga. In other words, the Mary Jane that returned in season 4 was a clone of the real Mary Jane that thought it was the real Mary Jane. Yeah. The clone thought that she was really Mary Jane. Just like I'm pretty sure the Gwen Stacy clone at times thought she was the real Gwen Stacy. Now, again, like I said, what's unique about this is the way it was done in this loose adaptation of that storyline is Mary Jane was the clone of Mary Jane was created to be a companion, a love interest to Hydro Man. And that ended up backfiring. And it wouldn't be until a confrontation with Hydro Man that Mary Jane Watson, or the clone of Mary Jane Watson, being protective of Peter, would end up displaying her own hydro water powers, much to her confusion, until she finds out the truth. And of course, just like with the clone of Gwen Stacy, it doesn't end well. Basically, the clone of Mary Jane ends up evaporating, ends up starting to slowly fall apart and thus evaporating. Now, it is hinted at in the finale, in the final moments of the series finale, that Spider-Man along with Madam Web are going to find the real Mary Jane. Now, apparently they do succeed because the next series that follows this is Spider-Man Unlimited, and she does play a minor role in this series. So we have to assume she was found and brought back. We have to assume that. Now, I haven't watched the Unlimited series, but I can only assume that. Now, of course, she did make appearances in the new animated Spider-Man series on MTV, in which she was the on and off love interest of Peter Parker. And then, of course, she made another animated return in the Spectacular Spider-Man, which was on Kids W, on Kids W or W Kids, Kids WB. That's what it is, Kids WB. Later on, CW for Kids. She would make her return there. Now, I'm not sure if she found out about Peter's identity there as well, but I think probably she did, his alter ego and all that. And then, of course, she would make another animated return in Ultimate Spider-Man, the Disney XD series. But she wouldn't really play that much of a role. I mean, yes, she had some moments and all that from what I understand, but she wouldn't be a central piece, a centerpiece, or a major factor until we got to this recent season, where she basically became a focal point in the Symbiont Saga. You see, in the Symbiont Saga for the Ultimate Spider-Man series, which was divided by titles in a unique kind of way, this season was known as Ultimate Spider-Man versus the Sinister Six. Here, basically, she, like I said, she basically, in this season, and which is basically the last season, becomes a focal point in the Symbiont Saga because she ends up getting, thanks to Michael Morbius, she ends up getting, and Michael Morbius and Crossbones, she ends up getting possessed by the Carnage symbiote, thus turning her into Carnage Queen. Now, to make sure that she's completely under the control, they basically implant a device into her Carnage body, into a symbiont body, to make sure of that. Now, long story short, she's freed of the mind control, and then as Peter and Flash Thompson and the others reveal their identities to her, slowly but surely she starts resisting the Carnage symbiont and removing it, most of it, from her body, or so we think. Because we find out that there's still a little bit of the Carnage symbiote left within her. That's thanks to some experimentation by Dr. Kurt Connors, the same experimentation that he did on Flash Thompson to get him to have control over the Venom symbiote that's becoming anti-Venom or Agent Venom. Mary Jane is given the same treatment, that she is able to use it to become the Ultimate Spider-Man version of Spider-Woman. And what's unique about this, though, too, is because I was doing some research, looking up clips and all that, is the symbiote is what's little left of the symbiote is bonded to her body. So even while she's in her regular civilian mode, she can shapeshift her arms and stuff into anything she wants. So, yeah, even in civilian mode, she can shapeshift her arms into anything she wants it to become. So that's really, really unique in some ways. And she's able to conjure up the Spider-Woman outfit from within her. She's able to, basically, it just rises up on her, and there you go. Now, honestly, this is not the first time Mary Jane has actually taken on the Spider-Woman persona. You take a look at the Japanese adaptation of Spider-Man, and she becomes Spider-Woman there as part of the Spider Clan of ninjas. And her outfit is sort of like a hybrid, like the body outfit is like a hybrid of the Iron Spider-Man outfit here that we know here in the States, but the mask is very reminiscent of the original Spider-Woman's mask. Now, she goes on to be Spider-Woman in several Marvel multiverse, like in Exiles, she's Spider-Woman as well. Spider-Woman there as well, and in Exiles, she is a lesbian. Yeah, in the Exiles version of Mary Jane Watson, where she's Spider-Woman, she's also a lesbian that has a romantic relationship with one of the fellow Exile characters or team members. So yeah, she's been portrayed as Spider-Woman several times. As a matter of fact, in one of the more recent story arcs over the past couple of years, Spider Island, she was able to use the Iron Spider-Man outfit to help Spider-Man and Iron Man, fight off their enemies on Spider Island, which is pretty cool. So yeah, Mary Jane has, been through it all lately. It doesn't matter what incarnation she's represented in. She's always a major part, sometimes a small part, but mostly a major part in the Spideyverse, which is really unique in some ways. As a matter of fact, it's been noted recently as part of the Renew Your Vow series of Spider-Man, of the Amazing Spider-Man, that she, along with their daughter, become the Spider, along with Peter and their daughter become a Spider family. In other words, they're both given their own Spider-Man-like outfits. So, I don't know about the powers, but pretty much they're given the same Spider-Man outfits. Now, like I said, Mary Jane has gone through different things as well. As a matter of fact, we talk about the Ultimate Spider-Man animated series. Of course, that wouldn't have been in existence if it wasn't based loosely on the Ultimate Spider-Man comic book. Now I talk about how in the animated series of Ultimate Spider-Man, in this final season, how she becomes Spider-Woman thanks to what's left over of the Carnage symbiote in her, and thanks to some of the help and experimentation by Dr. Connors to help her keep it under her control and not let it control her. Because when it controlled her, like I said, she became Carnage Queen. She was mind controlled and then broken of it. And her design was, unique for a Carnage symbiote character, because basically she went to having, as some people pointed out, 4 legs. Yeah, basically, I guess basically gave her, instead of giving her 2 legs like it did the regular Carnage, like Carnage did for any of its other hosts, this one gave her, as Carnage Queen, 4 legs. So that was kind of unique in a sense. But anyway, like I said, it's not the first time in any Ultimate Spideyverse that she's been turned into something. There's a storyline in the original Ultimate Spider-Man where she is kidnapped injected with some kind of formula or whatever it is, mutations thing called Oz, O-Z. And when she gets angry, she ends up turning into the ultimate version of Demon Goblin. Yeah. She ends up turning into the Demon Goblin, and it takes her friends to help her calm down. It takes her seeing her friends to help her calm down and revert back to normal. Now, of course, the difference between her transformations in both the animated and in the comic book, she's given a cure that allows her to hopefully remove and repress the Oz formula that was ejected into her. But it's hinted at in several issues later, that it may not be a total cure, because according to what I've read on Wikipedia, when she sees Peter Parker talking to Kitty Pryde, she starts to get a little angry and her nails start to grow out like the Demon Goblin. So, so basically, her becoming Carnage Queen and the Spider Woman in the animated version, I guess, was more of a tamer adaptation of what she became in the comic book. Now, like I said, Mary Jane has, been through has been one of the more iconic characters out there. When they did the movies starting in 2002, I'm sure there were several actresses that went for the role, but only one actress got it for those 3 movies, and that was Kristen Dunst. Kristen Dunst, who I know I may get flack for this, but Kristen Dunst, in my opinion, is probably the best, I should say, the best choice for Mary Jane Watson in the series. I really think that's a fact. I think she was probably the best choice they had for a live action Mary Jane Watson. And, really, I can't say any more than that. I thought she did a good job. Now, when they rebooted the Spider-Man movies as the Amazing Spider-Man series, Mary Jane Watson was supposed to come back in the second movie. She was going to be played by one actress, and then that actress left. And another actress, I think her name was Sophia Turner, came on and took over. And like I said, Mary Jane Watson was originally scheduled and planned to be part of the Amazing Spider-Man verse, or the Amazing Spider-Man 2 movie, I should say. She was basically planned to be part of that. Unfortunately, I guess last-minute decisions cut out her scenes, and I think somewhere in the movies, in the Blu-ray versions of the movies, they have as bonus features, I think they have the deleted Mary Jane scenes. So, yeah, it's 9 additional scenes in the Blu-ray version of Amazing Spider-Man 2, which I'm assuming includes the Mary Jane scenes as well, because those were cut out, I guess, at the last minute or something. Now, had there been a third Amazing Spider-Man movie, there's no doubt she probably would have been in that movie as well. Now, I'm not sure about her status quo for Spider-Man Homecoming. I'm assuming she's in that. I don't know what kind of role, if she is in the movie, she's going to play. But she is in the Amazing Spider-Man. But I'm pretty sure she's in Spider-Man Homecoming. Okay, according to Wikipedia, it doesn't look like she's in it. But it looks like there's a character called Michelle that's in it that might be maybe similar, might be a hybrid. I don't really know. But anyway, yeah, she's not in that one. But if they make a second Spider-Man movie, which I'm pretty sure they will because it's now part of the MCU, that Mary Jane will be part of that. But yeah, like I said, she was originally supposed to be in Spider-Man 2. Those scenes were deleted. You could probably view those scenes on the Blu-ray. And really, like I said, the only live action, and again, going back to what I was saying, I think really when you come down to it right now, I think people, if you look at it, if you were to cast another actress as a live action Mary Jane for a Spider-Man movie or a Spider-Man related movie, people might accept her, but when it comes to live action adaptations, I think a lot of people will lean towards Kristen a little bit because I think in a way she kind of embodied Mary Jane from that perspective. I really think she did. Now, we do know that a new Spider-Man series is coming out this year. A new Spider-Man animated series is coming out this year, probably in conjunction with the Homecoming movie. And we are confirmed that several different versions of Spider-Man from different worlds are going to show up. Maybe from the same world, we don't know. We have been confirmed that I think Miles Morales' Spider-Man is going to show up. We've been confirmed that Spider-Gwen is going to show up. So it's going to be unique what they do here. We don't know. Maybe they'll go a similar direction and put Mary Jane in the role of Spider-Woman, down the line, but we're not really sure yet. But I'm sure Mary Jane will be part of that. What kind of role will she play? Will she be similar to what we had towards the end of Ultimate Spider-Man? Or will she have some more specific role in some way? Will she become Spider-Woman in this incarnation? Only time will tell. But really, I can't really say any more about Mary Jane than what I've already said. Because like I said, she has had some iconic moments in the comics as well. I mean, one of the more iconic moments that even Linkara brings up is the fact that she was the one that kind of finalized the deal with Mephisto to kind of not only help save Aunt May from death, but at the expense of her and Peter Parker's relationship, their marriage, their love. So she was the one that basically made that deciding factor, which was iconically part of One More Day, which is an arc that, quite frankly, even though it got rebooted, retconned, basically later on down the line, about several years later, basically was fixed in some shape or form. I think it was fixed. It was kind of retconned in the same continuity, something like that, and then totally just thrown out the window thanks to the Marvel reboot, or however you want to look at it. It's one of those story arcs that not even Linkara, Lewis Lovehog, I should say, likes. So, yeah, like I said, she's played iconic roles and she's had some iconic moments in the comics, like that one, which many felt was the most controversial. It's not one of the most hated decisions that was ever made in the comic. Yeah, not a lot of people were fans of what she did. They weren't, believe me. So, not what she did, but what she was a part of, I should say. Believe me. But like I said, she has been portrayed. The one thing I will say about Mary Jane's character in the comics and now lately in the animated adaptation, in any other media adaptation like the animated series, she's been described as a badass. Like, she can hold her own, which is really unique. She has been described as a badass that can hold her own when it is needed. Now, true, when she first started out and really became more full-fledged, made more full-on appearances and this and that, true, many people looked at Mary Jane back then as a Mary Sue, or a Mary Sue that was always a DID, damsel in distress. But I look at the fact that she is now, I look at the fact that Marvel has looked at her character and looked at the different incarnations that they have of her, and they said, you know what, enough's enough. Let's make her more legitimate. Let's make her a badass when she needs to be. Let's make her be able to defend herself, and all that. And that's it. And that's what they've gone and done. And again, like I said, it's really, really unique of how they've gone and portrayed her in that manner, whether it's in Ultimate Spider-Man, whether it's in the comics, or whatever else they have planned for her down the line. So, again, I can't really say more about Mary Jane Watson than what's already been said and what other people have said. And despite what you think about her, you have to agree that Marvel has done a good job, depending on the incarnation that you see of her, of basically representing her better as a character, and thus being less dependent on someone like Peter to help save her. So, really, that's all I can say. And I mean, oh, one other one other piece of trivia. Spider-Woman her being Spider-Woman in Ultimate Spider-Man in this final season of Ultimate Spider-Man, the animated series, as well as in various incarnations, whether it's in Japan as part of the Spider Magnaverse, or in different incarnations of the Marvel multiverse. There was another alter ego she had for a little bit. It was called Jackpot. Yeah, I don't know what kind of power she had or what she had there, but she was known as Jackpot. And I don't think Peter knew about it until I think later on. I think several issues later or something. So, but anyway, yeah. That was. I was just thinking. I just thought about that. That was the other alter ego she had for a while. So, as a superheroine. So really, that's all I could say about Mary Jane. Again, like I said, I can't say any more than what's already been said. Hope you guys have enjoyed this Animated Girls Profile Confidential, which I was finally able to complete today because I've been interrupted several times by phone calls and stuff. So, again, hope you guys enjoyed this, and let me know what you think down below. What are your thoughts about Mary Jane Watson as a character? How do you think she's been portrayed lately? And what are your thoughts of her being in these ultra superhero egos like Spider-Woman and Ultimate Spider-Man and the animated series? These alter egos of Jackpot, of Spider-Woman, in the other parts of the Marvel Universe, like with Renew Your Vows, Exiles, and stuff like that. And what are your thoughts of her when she became the Ultimate Demon Goblin? Let me know what your thoughts are overall on the character. Comment down below. Video reply if you want. Play for Cinema, Jawbreaker. I would like to hear your thoughts on it. And I will talk to you all later. God bless. Take care. And thank you for listening and watching this 40th edition, or 41st edition, I should say,